Audio Jungle.
The General Staff spoke about the situation on the fronts. Since the beginning of the day on October 13, 80 battles have taken place at the front. The largest number of combat clashes was recorded in the Kharkiv direction. This was announced in the evening summary of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in Telegram. The General Staff noted that the border settlements of the Sumy region continue to suffer from shelling from Russian territory. Babalivka was damaged by barrel artillery fire. Also, the aggressor carried out airstrikes in the areas of the settlements of Sosnivka, Myshutin, Glukiv, Obody and Bila Beriza, using 13 air defense systems. In addition, the Russians are also bombing the Kursk region of the Russian Federation. According to available information, 9 strikes by 12 guided aerial bombs have been carried out on its territory. In the Kupiansk direction, Ukrainian soldiers repel 6 enemy attacks near Petropavlivka, Pishchiny, Vaishnovoy, Kopany and Lozova. One of these clashes has already ended. In the Lymansky direction, the invading army carried out 10 attacks during the day near Grakivka, Druzhelubivka, Terna, and Torsky. 5 clashes have ended at this time, 5 more are ongoing. In the Kramatorsk direction, our defenders repelled an enemy assault near Chasevoy Yar. 2 enemy attacks took place in the Sherbanivka area in the Teresk direction. In the Pokrovsky direction, since the beginning of the day, the occupiers have made 15 attempts to dislodge our defenders from their occupied positions in the areas of the settlements of Suky Yar, Lysivka, Praman and Selidov. The defense forces restrained the onslaught and repelled 13 enemy attacks. 2 clashes are still ongoing. The enemy is concentrating its main efforts near Selidovoy, where 12 battles have taken place so far. Today it is the hottest in the Kurakivka direction. The occupiers conducted 19 attacks near Kremenaya Balka, Izmailivka, Novoselidivka, Kurakivka, Hernik, Maximilianivka, Kostyantinivka and Katerinivka. Currently, 3 battles are taking place in the Novoselidivka and Kremenaya Balka districts. In addition, the enemy dropped aerial bombs on Kurakov and Ilinka. In the Vremysk direction, units of our troops repulse the Russian offensive near the Golden Niva. At this time, the battle continues. The occupiers twice tried to dislodge our units from their positions in the Oryahiv direction. A battle continues near Robotin. In the Dnieper direction, our defenders repelled 4 enemy attacks, another one is ongoing. On October 12, 94 combat clashes took place at the front. The largest number of battles is also in the Kharkiv direction. During the last day, from October 12 to 13, the soldiers of the Ukrainian armed forces destroyed 1,300 invaders, 49 armored combat vehicles and 29 artillery systems at the front. In addition, fighters of the 95th Separate Assault Brigade of the Polish Brigade destroyed an assault group of the Russian army in one of the settlements of the Kursk region of the Russian Federation. Guerrillas found North Korean soldiers in the occupied territory. Soldiers from North Korea have set up a training ground near Mariupol in the area of the village of Sartana. The corresponding message appeared on the TG channel of the Ukrainian Partisan Movement, SROC, Death to the Russian Occupiers and Collaborators, on Sunday, October 13, 2024. The active operation of 3 training grounds in the Mariupol district is reported, especially the training ground near the village of Sartana, equipped with the participation of the North Korean contingent, attracts attention. Intensive training with barrel artillery takes place there, which refutes the information about the shortage of shells. The North Korean instructors are engaged in setting up the training ground and probably feel confident and safe at the moment, as many residents of the Sartan community have actively cooperated with the occupier, notes the Ukrainian Partisan Movement SROK, which mainly operates in the Azov region. From other sources, information about the alleged 3 training grounds for forces from the DPRK on the Tot, and, in particular, about their own training ground in Sartan, has not yet been received. As the partisans emphasize, they will do everything possible so that Putin's military allies from the DPRK receive a greeting from the armed forces as soon as possible. Earlier it was reported that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea DPRK may send its military to Ukraine to support the Russian Federation RF. The possibility of such a development of the scenario is very likely. Part of the North Korean military is undergoing training in Russia for a possible future deployment together with the Russian military. The Zhytomyr Brigade destroyed the snipers from the unit that shot Ukrainian prisoners. The 95th Separate Polish Airborne Assault Brigade posted a video of the destruction of Russians from the 155th Marine Brigade in the Kursk region. Freaks from this unit repeatedly flaunted shootings and abuse of prisoners. This is reported in the telegram of the 95th Brigade. Fighters of the 95th Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces crushed an assault group of Russians in one of the settlements of the Kursk region of the Russian Federation. They were the bastards of the 155 Marine Brigade of the Pacific Fleet, who especially like to flaunt their feats. Namely, mockery of prisoners, shooting of those Ukrainian servicemen who, finding themselves in a hopeless situation, surrendered. Prisoners around the world are protected by the law of war, the Geneva Conventions. But the Russians don't care about international humanitarian law, so they rudely and cynically violate it. But here it was not possible to impress these monstrosities in military uniform. When they met in battle with Ukrainian paratroopers, they were all destroyed. The same fate will await other soldiers from this brigade, says the explanation to the video. On Sunday, October 13, analysts of the Deep State Service reported, with reference to the 1st Separate Tank Brigade, that in the Kursk region Russian soldiers shot dead 9 Ukrainian soldiers. It probably happened on October 10 near the village of Zeleny Shlia. Commissioner for Human Rights Dmytro Lubinets reacted to the shooting of Ukrainian soldiers in Khershina. He addressed letters to the UN and the Red Cross. The international community should react harshly to the execution of Ukrainian soldiers by the Russians and the abuse of them in captivity, said the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine Andriy Sybiga. In the Kharkiv direction, the paratroopers repelled a mechanized Russian attack. In the Donetsk region, paratroopers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine repelled a massive Russian attack with the participation of 30 units of armored vehicles. They destroyed a third. This was announced by the Telegram channel of the Khortycha Operational Strategic Troop Group and published a corresponding video. 30 units of armored vehicles left for the assault on the positions of the Separate Tavry Assault Brigade in the Kharkiv direction, 25 armored vehicles with infantry supported by 5 tanks. The occupiers failed to achieve surprise. The convoys were detected in time by aerial reconnaissance, the message reads. Even on the approaches, the occupiers faced the fire of Ukrainian artillery and the strikes of kamikaze drones. Anti-tankers successfully entered the battle, mine barriers also worked. Ukrainian soldiers, repelling the Russian attack, burned 7 armored vehicles with infantry and 1 tank. Another tank was knocked out. More than 30 invaders were also destroyed during the battle. The surviving equipment fled the battlefield from Ukrainian attack drones. Since the beginning of the day on October 13, 80 battles have taken place at the front. The largest number of combat clashes was recorded in the Kharkiv direction. On October 12, 94 combat clashes took place at the front. The largest number of battles is also in the Kharkiv direction. During the last day, from October 12 to 13, the soldiers of the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroyed 1,300 invaders, 49 armored combat vehicles and 29 artillery systems at the front. In addition, fighters of the 95th Separate Assault Brigade of the Polish Brigade destroyed an assault group of the Russian army in one of the settlements of the Kursk region of the Russian Federation. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that North Korea supplies the Russian army with weapons as well as manpower. He said this in a video message on October 13. We see that the alliance between Russia and such regimes as in North Korea is growing. It is no longer just about the transfer of weapons. This is actually about the transfer of people from North Korea to the military forces of the occupier, Zelensky said. The president called on partners to strengthen support for Ukraine in order to prevent a bigger war. The front needs more support. When we talk about greater range for Ukraine and more decisive supply for our forces, it is not just a list of military assets. This is about increasing the pressure on the aggressor, Volodymyr Zelensky added. Earlier it was reported that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK) may send its military to Ukraine to support the Russian Federation (RF). The possibility of such a development of the scenario is very likely. Part of the North Korean military is undergoing training in Russia for a possible future deployment together with the Russian military. Ukrainian partisans discovered that soldiers from North Korea had set up a training ground near Mariupol in the area of the village of Sartana.